From translation, Net New English Translation, this 143 day of the year, today we are reading passages Ezra 8-10, Ezra chapter 8, verses 1 to 36. These are the leaders of the families who returned with me from Babylon during the reign of King Artaxerxes of Persia. Gershom from the family of Phinehas, Daniel from the family of Isamar, Hattush from the family of Shechaniah, who was a descendant of Zadok, Zechariah from the family of Pahas-Moab, the descendants of Jeshua and Joab, Elihonai, Jarib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah and Meshullam, from the family of Shechaniah and from the family of Adin. Ebed son of Jonathan, and Jeshiah son of Azariah, his ancestors were listed as Bani, and from the family of Bebai, Zechariah son of Bebai, and with him Were Chinese letter men. And from the family of Jeshua, Katui and Bani, from the sons of Hodaviah and some of their sons and brothers. And from the family of Bani, Shechaniah, and with him were Jehiel and Azariah, and all their sons and brothers, numbering 18. And from the family of Shephatiah, Zachar, and with him Were Chinese letter men. And from the family of Ara, Pahas-Moab, Zechariah, and with him Were Chinese letter, and 80 men. And from the family of Pahas-Moab, Elihonai, and with him Were Chinese letter, and 82 men. And from the family of Adin, Hashabiah, and with him Were Chinese letter, and 22 men. And from the family of Bebai, Josh, and with him Were Chinese letter, and 27 men. And from the family of Jeshua, Obadiah, and with him Were Chinese letter, and Chinese letter men. And from the family of Bani, Shelemith, and with him Were Chinese letter, and 60 men. I then sent for Eliezer, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Jarib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam, who were leaders, and for Joarib and Elnathan, who were wise men, and I sent them to Iddo, the leader of the place Casiphia, with a message to Iddo and his colleagues, the temple servants at Casiphia. I sent them to speak to Iddo and his colleagues, and to the temple servants about bringing ministers to us for the house of our God by the good hand of our God on us. They brought us a wise man from the family of Mali, son of Levi, son of Israel, namely Sherebiah, along with his sons and brothers, 18 men, and Hashabiah, and with him Jeshiah from the sons of Merari, along with his brothers and their sons, 20 men, and from the temple servants, whom David and the officials had assigned to serve the Levites, 200 Chinese letter temple servants, along with Joarib, and with him Elnathan, and with them 200 Chinese letter temple servants. I proclaimed a fast there by the Ahava Canal, so that we might humble ourselves before our God in order to seek from him a safe journey for us, our children, and all our possessions. I was ashamed to ask the king for a military force and cavalry to protect us from enemies on the way, because we had said to the king, "The hand of our God is favorably disposed to all who are seeking him, but his power and his anger are against all who abandon him." So we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered us favorably. Then I selected 12 of the leading priests, Sherebiah, Hashabiah, and 10 of their colleagues with them. I weighed out to them the silver, the gold, and the vessels, the offering for the house of our God that the king, his counselors, his officials, and all Israel there present had contributed. I weighed out to them 600 Chinese letter talents of silver, 100 and silver vessels Weighin Chinese letter, Chinese letter talents, a talent of gold, 20 gold basins worth 1,000 darics, and 200 vessels of polished copper worth 1,000 darics. I said to them, "You are set apart to the Lord, and the vessels are set apart, and the silver and the gold are a freewill offering to the Lord, the God of your ancestors. Guard them carefully until you weigh them out in the chambers of the Lord's temple in Jerusalem, in the presence of the leading priests, the Levites, and the leaders of Israel, and in the presence of the rest of the people who have returned from exile." So the priests and the Levites took charge of the silver, the gold, and the vessels that had been weighed out, to bring them to Jerusalem. We went from the Ahava Canal on the 12th day of the first month to go to Jerusalem. The hand of our God was over us, and he delivered us from the power of the enemy and from ambushes along the way. When we arrived at Jerusalem, we rested there for 3 days. On the 4th day the silver, the gold, and the vessels were weighed out in the house of our God to the priest Meremoth son of Uriah, and with him was Eleazar son of Phinehas, and with them were the Levites, Jozabad son of Jeshua and Nodiah son of Binnui. They weighed out for them the silver, the gold, and the vessels, and the entire offering was weighed out twice. I weighed out to them everything twice. Then the priests and the Levites took charge of the silver, the gold, and the vessels that had been weighed out, to bring them to Jerusalem to the house of our God. From the Ahava Canal they brought to Jerusalem the silver, the gold, and the vessels for the house of our God. King Artaxerxes had given them a decree to grant us whatever Ezra might ask. They brought the silver, the gold, and the vessels to the house of our God to the care of Meremoth the priest, Eleazar the son of Phinehas, and the Levites, Jozabad the son of Jeshua, and Nodiah the son of Binnui. Ezra chapter 9 verses 1 to 15. When these things had been accomplished, the leaders approached me and said, "The people of Israel, including the priests and Levites, have not kept themselves separate from the neighboring peoples with their abominations, from the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken some of their daughters as wives for themselves and for their sons, and have mingled the holy race with the peoples of the land, and the leaders and officials have been the foremost in this trespass." When I heard this, I tore my tunic and my mantle, and pulled hair from my head and beard, and sat down appalled. Then all who trembled at the words of the God of Israel, because of the faithlessness of the returned exiles, gathered around me while I sat appalled until the evening sacrifice. Then at the evening sacrifice I got up from my humiliation, with my tunic and mantle torn, and fell on my knees, spread out my hands to the Lord my God and prayed, "O my God, I am ashamed and blush to lift up my face to you, my God, for our iniquities have risen higher than our heads, and our guilt has grown up to the heavens. From the days of our ancestors to this day we have been guilty greatly, and for our iniquities we, our kings, and our priests have been given into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, to plunder, and to utter shame, as it is today. But now for a brief moment favor has been shown by the Lord our God, who has left us a remnant to escape, and has given us a secure place in his holy land, so that our God might enlighten our eyes and grant us a little reviving in our slavery. For we are slaves, but our God has not abandoned us in our slavery. He has extended to us his favor before the kings of Persia, so that he might revive us and give us a secure place in his sanctuary, and that his temple might be rebuilt in our ruined state. Now we are slaves, yet in our slavery you have not abandoned us. You have extended to us your favor before the kings of Persia, so that we might live and rebuild the house of our God, so that we might offer up burnt offerings to the God of heaven, and sacrifices for the well-being of the king and his sons. And now, O our God, what can we say after this? For we have abandoned your commandments that you commanded by your servants the prophets, saying, 'The land that you are entering to possess is an unclean land, with the uncleanness of the peoples of the lands, filled with their abominations by their uncleanness and detestable things.' And now, after all that has come upon us because of our evil deeds and our great guilt, you, our God, have punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and have given us such a deliverance as this. Shall we break your commandments again, and intermarry with the peoples who practice these abominations? Would you not become angry with us until you completely destroyed us, so that not one remnant or survivor would be left? O Lord, God of Israel, you are just, for we are left a remnant as it is this day. Here we are before you in our guilt, though no one can stand before you because of this." Ezra chapter 10, verses 1 to 44. While Ezra was praying and confessing, weeping and prostrating himself before the house of God, a very large assembly of Israelites gathered to him, men, women, and children. The people wept bitterly as they listened to the law of Moses. Then Shechaniah son of Jehiel, from the family of Elam, spoke up and said to Ezra, "We have broken faith with our God by marrying foreign women from the peoples of the land, but there is still hope for Israel in this regard. Let us now make a covenant with our God to send away all these women and their children, in accordance with the counsel of my Lord and of those who tremble at the commandment of our God. And let us act according to the law. Arise, for this matter is your responsibility, and we are with you, be strong and do it." Then Ezra arose and made the leading priests, Levites, and all Israel swear that they would do as had been said. So they swore. Then Ezra withdrew from before the house of God, and went to the chamber of Jehohanan son of Eliashib, where he spent the night, neither eating bread nor drinking water, for he was mourning over the faithlessness of the exiles. A proclamation was issued throughout Judah and Jerusalem to all the returned exiles that they should assemble at Jerusalem. Anyone who did not come within 3 days, in accordance with the counsel of the leaders and elders, would forfeit all his property and would himself be excluded from the assembly of the exiles. So all the people of Judah and Benjamin assembled at Jerusalem within the 3 days. It was the 20th day of the 9th month, and all the people sat in the open square before the house of God, trembling because of this matter and because of the heavy rain. Then Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, "You have broken faith and married foreign women, adding to Israel's guilt. Now therefore make confession to the Lord, the God of your ancestors, and do his will. Separate yourselves from the peoples of the land and from the foreign women." Then the whole assembly responded with a loud voice, "Right, we must do as you say, but there are too many people for us to manage this in 1 day or even 1 month. Surely we have sinned greatly in this matter. Let our officials stand for the whole assembly, and let all in our towns who have married foreign women come at a set time, and with each of the elders of their towns and their judges, until the fierce wrath of our God over this matter is turned away from us. Only Jonathan son of Asahel and Jaazah son of Tikva opposed this, and Meshullam and Shabbatai the Levites supported them. The descendants of the exiles who had returned from captivity did so, as did all the others who had separated themselves from the peoples of the lands to adhere to the law of God, their wives and children. All such people gathered themselves together and stood in the court of the house of God. Then Ezra the priest selected men who were family heads, all of them by name, to represent their ancestral houses, and all of them sat down in session on the first day of the 10th month. They made a thorough investigation of the matter by the first day of the first month, and by then they had dealt with all the men who had married foreign women. Among the descendants of the priests who had married foreign women were found the following descendants of Jeshua son of Jozadak and his brothers: Marciah, Eleazar, Jarib, and Jedaliah. They pledged to send away their wives, and for guilt offering they presented a ram of the flock for their guilt. From the descendants of Immer, Hanani and Zebediah. From the descendants of Harim, Marciah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jehiel, and Uzziah. From the descendants of Pashhur, Elionai, Marciah, Ishmael, Nethanel, Jozabad, and Elasa. From the descendants of the Levites: Jozabad, Shimei, Kelai, the Levite from the sons of Hodaviah, some of whose brothers were named, and from the sons of Immer, Hanani and Malach, and from the sons of Harim, Baana. And from the descendants of the priests, the descendants of Jeshua, son of Jozadak, and his brothers, Marciah, Ginethan, Meremoth, and Eleazar, and Jozabad, and Jonathan. And from the descendants of the Levites: Jozabad and Shimei and Kelai, who was the Levite, the sons of Jeshua, son of Kadmiel, and his brothers. And from the gatekeepers: Shallum, Akub, and Talmon, Shimei's sons, and the Levites, Shallum's brother. And from the others of the Israelites, from the descendants of Parosh: Ramiah, Isaiah, Malchiah, Mijamin, Eleazar, Malchijah, and Benaiah. From the descendants of Elam: Mattaniah, Zechariah, Jehiel, Abdi, Jeremoth, and Elijah. From the descendants of Zatu: Elionai, Eliashib, Mattaniah, Jeremoth, Zabad, and Aziza. From the descendants of Bebai: Johanan, Hananiah, Zabai, and Athli. From the descendants of Bani: Meshullam, Malach, and Adiah, Jarshid, Shelom, and Jeremoth. From the descendants of Pahath Moab: Adnah, Chelal, Benaiah, Marciah, Mattaniah, Bezalel, Binui, and Manasseh. From the descendants of Harim: Eleazar, Ishij, Malchiah, Shemaiah, Shimon, Benjamin, Malach, and Shemariah. From the descendants of Hashem: Mattanai, Mattata, Zabad, Eliphelet, Jeremiah, Manasseh, and Shimei. From the descendants of Bani: Mardai, Amram, and Yul, Benaiah, Bidaiah, Chela, Vaniah, Meshullam, Malach, Harim, and Bethel. From the descendants of Nebo: Jael, Mattithiah, Zabad, Zebina, Jada, Joel, Benaiah, and Marciah. From the descendants of Magpi: Meshullam, Malach, Jaziah, Shaphat, Bani, and Jeshua. From the descendants of Deliah: Tobiah, Nekoda, and Giddel. From the descendants of Jibon: Jael, whose wife's name was Maacah, and Jibon, whose wife's name was Maacah. From the families of the sons of the other Levites: the sons of Hashabiah, the sons of Shimei, the sons of Kehath, the sons of Merari. From the descendants of the gatekeepers: the sons of Shallum, the sons of Ater, the sons of Talmon, the sons of Akub, the sons of Habai, and the sons of Shemaiah. All these were the sons of gatekeepers. They had been gatekeepers with their ancestors in the Holy Land when the tabernacle was set up.